Hello, 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 Hwacha here, and this is my Let's Play of Vagrus, Part 2. So, we were reading all the lore that comes out of this book, last time. So, I guess we should finish this? Should we finish this? It's a lot. It's quite a bit. Or should we move on and come back to this? Do a little bit at a time. Maybe we'll do a little bit at a time, because there's a lot, right? There's a lot of reading. So let's go back here. Do you think Narbu will help us out? Right. So we were going to decide what to say to our buddy. One can only hope. I haven't seen him in years, but we always did good business. That said, you are not sure he would remember you if he is alive at all. If he is not willing, we must find a way to compel him. There is no telling what you would be capable of if it came to that. He has to help us out. He won't be able to pass up the opportunity to make us indebted to him, even though the thought of selling yourself out in such a way makes you feel dirty. So, I don't know. I don't know if these even matter to our buddy here. He has to help us out. He won't be able to pass up the opportunity, right? Let's do that one. These are dark times. They call for desperate deeds, but such thoughts make me uncomfortable, to be honest. Javik rubs his chin absentmindedly. You have seen this expression of his too often not to realize he is using his sorcerer's talent to read your mind. Taking a peek, get out of my head, you know the rules. Let's be nice to everybody. Apologies, Javik rubs his eyes quickly and looks away. You know how it is. It comes to me so naturally that sometimes I don't notice him doing. Your thoughts were loud, Vagrus. I have to actually block them, you see. After joining your comitatus 6 years ago, Javik proven to be an invaluable asset. Not only does he sense moods and thoughts around him, but he is also able to subtly manipulate others when he focuses his inner energies. It comes in handy when doing business. Then there are his other perks. A few times you saw him shatter the minds of men and beasts who tried to kill him. Not a pretty sight, but a very effective deterrence. Yet because he is not a trained sorcerer, at least not in the traditional sense, his abilities are sometimes difficult to control. You have become accustomed to his impromptu thought scans, while others find it less bearable to be around him. For this reason, he has kept his abilities a secret for many years overall, but you can't keep a secret such as this for long in the close-knit community of a comitatus. Especially not if you keep bursting minds and knowing things you shouldn't. So there are only a handful of your comms who put up with being near him for any length of time. But even so, he has not probed your mind in years, certainly not on purpose, but neither by accident. Perhaps he is less in control now, which suggests he is more on edge about this whole trip than he lets on. Apology accepted. You manage a faint smile. Let us return to the others and push on. There's still a day's travel ahead of us. Just make sure it does not happen again, you grumble as you start to make your way down the ridge and back to the column. A long day of travel awaits you. I think I'm going to play a nice guy in this terrible world. Let's keep doing that and see what happens. Both of you head west to join the column. You go back to the comitatus. You go back. Oh, end.
As we were coming up to the gates of Scrap Heap, this trash pile town of cutthroats and scavengers, we could see the vast mountain ranges of shattered Bivanda Thar looming ominously over the horizon, half shrouded in the gaseous vapors belched forth by the volcanoes in the far west. My companions prepared to do their business in town as fast as they could, not wishing to tarry in this notorious place.
Okay, so I'm going to take a guess here. I'm going to take the storyteller is Javik, right? The sorcerer. Oh, the untrained sorcerer guy? I bet. That's my guess. And I kind of hope, since he has that ability, that he joins us when we're done this tutorial. That would be kind of cool. Alright, when a comitatus enters a settlement, you can select from a variety of options, each on its separate pane, revolving around resting, resupplying, and trading. You also have the opportunity to initiate stories located in the settlement. This time, only the story pane is active. Follow the only available story. So the story market, Manzio, I don't know what that is, factions, and then leave the settlement. Okay. Scrap heap. At the foot of the ever-fuming mountains of fire lies Scrap Heap, the infamous town of scavengers, debris, and junk are piled in veritable hills, upon and around which the rickety homes of decrepit inhabitants stand precariously. Ash lingers everywhere, and the sun is almost always absent from the twilight skies. The dreaded Iron Tower rises above the town, and its master controls the trade of this forsaken realm's most precious commodity, scrap metal pilfered from the ruins of the lost kingdom of Vendarthar. Shady eyes and soot-covered faces watch from under ashen-laid awnings. Life is cheaper than iron here, some say. Okay, so then the story is track down Narbo. You make your way to the Wraith Stash, a notorious watering hole tucked away in a small street just beneath the imposing tower of the Heap King, but not quite under its immense shadow. Few frequent the establishment, which makes it perfect for Narbo and his little operation of honest merchants. Apparently the knave is not only alive, but has done well for himself in the past decade or so. Taking only Javik, you leave the comitatus to the care of Titus, your quartermaster, while you're gone negotiating. Ash is flitting from the black sky as you cross the street and nod to the bouncer of the Wraith Stash. You give him your sidearms. Rules are rules, at least as long as they can enforce them. Yet they have the courtesy of allowing you to keep your dagger, and of course they have no idea what Javik is capable of, should it come to a scuffle. Not that you expect such a thing, but with Narbo one never knows. Though you have told your crew that he and you go way back, the entrepreneur is a capricious and manipulative man with whom you did not part on the best terms. I actually don't know that word. I feel kind of dumb. Does he remember that? Surely. Could he be persuaded to take your proposal? Who knows? Your eyes slowly adjust to the dimness of the tavern's interior. Only a few candles and a lamp at the bar illuminate the common room. Shadowy faces turn toward you and observe you through the smoke. The bartender, a thick-set man in a dirty tunic, is chewing tobacco serenely. Above the bar hangs the skeleton of a large heap lizard on display. Narbo is sitting at a table in the back, his bodyguard half hidden in the darkness at the wall behind him. Okay, so do we walk over to the bar, sit down at one of the vacant tables, or make your way confidently to Narbo? I think we do the confidence thing, right? Now, the entrepreneur looks up from a stack of papers in front of him and rubs his eyes. Narbo is a corpulent man with a bushy, dark beard and a few missing teeth. Part of his face is covered in scars similar to those left by old burns. That, coupled with the withered and mutilated left arm that hangs limply at his side, is a clear indication of the taint. The merchant wears a leather jerkin studded with small bronze and bone coins, a sign of wealth and boldness. His bodyguard, a lithe man with tribal tattoos and an outfit made of leather, moves his hand calmly to a spear that leans against the wall. Narbo's mouth falls open as the spark of recognition flares up in his eyes. No wonder. It has been 10 years. Oh. Huh. The fuck, mate? He blinks. I thought you croaked. Narbo waves his good hand around and looks at his bodyguard. Told tales of your demise. The man finishes a sentence for him as the merchant nods vehemently. That business with Karnak Outpost and the storm, Narbo adds. You tell him that you were indeed at Karnak when the terrible arcane storm struck. You describe the horrors of that night briefly, yet how many of your original comitatus died there. Close friends, old traveling companions, but you walked away unscathed. This was years ago. Sheesh, that fucker Ironfons looked after you something fierce, eh? Narbo chuckles heartily. But I'm sure you haven't come to reminisce about good old times, eh? His predatory smile makes you cautious even though he invites you to sit down with a casual wave of his meaty hand. Okay, so we can apologize to him for the unfortunate way you parted 10 years ago. Get down to business right away. You have no time to spare. Remind him that you do not like threats, especially not insinuated ones. Let's apologize. As far as I can tell, you never did anything against me, eh? Narbo shrugs with a wiry smile, or a wry smile. Of course, you could have sent someone to warn us, the bodyguard finishes the sentence. Back when Narbo and you parted ways, Avernum's collegium was hot on your trails. They got offended by how you two outplayed them by smuggling in a shipment of exotic spices without their knowledge and selling it to a local nobleman's merchant house. You look at Narbo and tell him there was no way of warning him or even knowing where he was after the chaos was unleashed following the heist in Avernum. You had to get your crew out of there, so you did. The merchant is fiddling thoughtfully with a stack of papers while listening to you. I appreciate you coming clean, even if this sorry business was so many years ago, he says after a long pause. The bodyguard becomes visibly less tense. But something tells me that ain't all you came for still, so what is it? And one option. You breathe in, time to outline your proposition. But there's only one blue thing here, so let's see what the collegium is. Oh boy, that's long too. Okay. A collegia. Plural is collegia. The collegium is a traditional imperial association, a kind of guild with its own rules, rights, and obligations. In the Fourth Age, they have become little more than organized crime syndicates that run the underworld of the imperial cities. History. Collegia originate from the early days of the Third Age, from the capital city of Zarin, where merchants and craftsmen began to organize themselves into guilds and unions to protect their rights to manipulate the market to their advantage. The Senate soon stepped in to regulate these associations, which led to intense political struggle. The Collegi, I lost my place, were eventually given rights along with obligations. Many of them oversaw parts of civic life or services. For example, the Carpenters Collegiate was responsible for repairing city buildings in exchange for exclusive rights in the lumbering and carpentry business. The institution soon spread to other imperial cities and provinces, now each with their own set of guilds and associations, operating under imperial law. Even during the Golden Age, Collegi began to devolve into organized crime syndicates when the opportunistic and unscrupulous members of society began to see a chance to hide behind the law and spread their influence through the collegia. The Fourth Age saw the return of collegia and the associated crime syndicates to the capital and large cities that were reclaimed by the empire. Their operations have become more and more brazen, and people are so accustomed to their ways that nobody ever thinks of questioning them. Structure and activity. Collegia are rarely involved in civic duties nowadays and are rights-protecting organizations only on the surface. Instead, they oversee all criminal activity in cities, including racketeering, prostitution, smuggling, fencing, burglary, begging, and gambling dens. They often have a great say in mercenary work and even sports activities like gladiatorial fights or chariot races. It's not gladiatorial, it's gladiator. I kind of just read what I want, looks like. And sometimes, if you notice, I get a little dyslexic. Okay. Most collegia are run by a single strong leader whose person may often change thanks to brutal power struggles. Under the leader are the captains, trusted officers who run most of the day-to-day business. Under them are members who are fully accepted in the collegium and are often responsible for an area of the city or specific business. This essentially creates a criminal life model and rank ladder that can be climbed. City officials are seldom ignorant of collegia activity and are more likely to be members themselves in secret, or at least benefit from bribes to remain silent. Okay, so We were running from the Avernum Collegium, so I should read this before we move on with the story, right? Just to find out what this was. Avernum is a city, okay, the regional capital of the empire where the Molten Tongue meets the Spalterbone Flats. Description. Avernum is surrounded by a stone and bone wall, with watchtowers standing every 200 yards. The bones were carried to the site from the plains of bones in the south at great expense, and are often carved with elaborate decorations. The houses of the city are in cramped lines forming narrow streets and small plazas. Often plazas have leather and cloth awnings to shield them from falling and slowly gathering ash of the nearby lava rivers. Most buildings are dark brown due to the color of the stone available close by. An imposing stronghold called the Slag Fort, which houses the garrison of the Prefectus in its great hall, was built upon the single large hill of the south side. Large warehouses can be found pretty frequently in the outer districts of town, along with smelting forges and furnaces. Some buildings are outside the walls, typically inhabited by the poor. History. The reborn empire soon moved back to the abandoned Smolderbone Flats after the Calamity had found it ideal to settle because of the new resources that could be found there, salt minerals and even obsidian. Thus the city of Avernum was built at the western border of the flats. Under control of an appointed governor called the Prefectus, the city mostly lacks the religious apparatus of provincial settlements, but has a fairly large military presence. Rumor is that due to its backwater status, Avernum follows imperial regulations more loosely and is essentially a private kingdom of the Prefectus. Controlling the city from the Slag Fort, he sends his personal army, the Avernus Legion, to handle his business. Because many comitati carry obsidian and even metal through here, there's an unusual density of weapon craftsmen and even blacksmiths in Avernum. One can find several forges and smithies on the main street. See, that's probably good to know. So, if I can get extra metals and travel through there, then I can probably get repairs or weapons or such there, right? So we'll finish these other blue ones later. Let's get to the story. So you breathe in. Time to outline your proposition. Okay, what's the tutorial say? Some choices have dependencies, meaning you can only pick certain choices if you have the right prerequisites. I read this somewhere before, right? Perks, perks, companions, resources, journal entries, and so on. Some choices involve tests that can be failed or succeeded with different consequences. Perks, characters, and resources can change the chance of success in tests. Test difficulty is represented by a number between 1 and 100 that you need to roll equal to or below. Okay, so let's see what this is. You explain to Narborough how you want him to give you a discount on a shipment of metal scraps, which you then would smuggle into Devon through contacts you have in the city's underworld. The profit on the shipment would be quite exquisite. You do not name your contact, but divulge enough of her that the plan looks solid. Buyers, you say, are lining up expecting the shipment soon. Narborough sits in silence, eyes fixed on the table as if listening to some noise from afar. He does not cut you off at any time during your proposition. At length, after you are done, he looks up and gives you a weak smile. That sounds like you've been thinking a long time about it, he says as he shifts in his chair. And it's a great plan, except for the part where I give you a discount for your asking and not much else. And I don't do that, mate. That would make me, an almoner, the bodyguard adds discreetly. That word? Narborough looks up at him. When the man nods, he turns back to you. An almoner. See, I'm no almoner. You know, you gotta do better than that. What you got for me? Okay. There's one. Knot that up. Let him know that in exchange for his help, you can help him out with a problem he might have right now. So not sure why that's blacked out. Since it's a tutorial and I did nothing else, it's probably just to show me, right, like that, what might happen, I guess. So number 3 has nothing. It says reveal that you're in a bad spot and it's your last chance. Number 2, remind him that you two used to make a great team and this would rekindle that partnership. Very low chance of success. This test takes the perks of all companions as well as the Vagrus into account. Persuasion plus 6%. This test takes the perks of all companions. Oh, okay, so there's 2. Oh, because I only brought Javik with me, right? So it's me and Javik. What does this do? Increase your chance of success in the test by 15%, but it costs 2 resourcefulness. And what is that? Is that my supplies? Or I don't know what resourcefulness is yet. What is this one? I can increase this one by 15% as well with 2 resourcefulness. What does this say? I don't know what resourcefulness is. Is that listed here anywhere? Nope. Oh no, I clicked Ross and didn't read it. Oh no, I guess I should read it quick. Ross is a small silver coin minted by the Empire and used extensively in both pre- and post-calamity eras. The Imperial crest laurels around the 2-headed eagles on one side, while Mercata, saint of commerce and trade, is on the other. Ross is very valuable in the 4th Age, so most people see it very rarely and almost never own it, the exception of the rich and most merchants. Ross Conrius was a man of the 3rd Age who was a close friend of the Saint Mercatus and worked for the Senate to simplify the system of many currencies that caused much chaos in his era. Originally called denarius, the coin was renamed after Ross by the merchant guilds and it stuck with the populace. Okay, that was pretty short. And what are these? Lurg and changers. So, changers, Lurg. Lurg is the most commonly used minted coin in the Empire and in other realms of the continent of Zaren. It's small, made of copper, and most people come into contact with it fairly regularly, even though the poor see it less often. The Imperial crest, laurels and 2-headed eagle are on one side, while usually senators or other aristocrats on the other. The coin is used to be called Lyragos, after the common coin of old Daramar, the forgotten free empire kingdom of humans, where it bore the name of the mighty king. And then changers, since I'm, going down that list. Changers are a type of coin used in the Empire and in most other realms on the continent, made of carved bone, wood, glass, obsidian, or even pretty stone. These coins are the least valuable of the standard imperial currency, so most people see a lot of them. Curiously, there's no standard for how they should look, yet everyone knows if a coin is worth enough to be considered a changer. Usually 10 changers are worth a single lurg. I'm still not sure how to pronounce that. Or how I should. Okay, so let's go back. Let's wait on more blue things there. So should I just do resourcefulness and see where it comes out of? I don't know what resourcefulness comes out of. So tell him that you'll be in his debt. He will make a tidy profit as it is, but you owe him a favor. Remind him you two used to make a great team. Yeah, okay. So should I offer him the favor? Because this one's very low, this one's moderate. Should we take the risk? Let's do 2 resourcefulness. Now this is moderate. Oh, and it affected both. It affected both. I didn't see it come out of anywhere. Or is it using 2, like me and my buddy? I don't know. So now that this one's moderate, let's do it. Fail. You roll a 66 out of 100, higher than the test difficulty value of 47. Well, that's not good. After a considerable pause, Marlborough scratches his beard in thought, then turns to you again. Fair enough. We used to run together. I know you're capable, but just to be clear, you do owe me for this, and I'll collect. The moment you make that deal in Devon, you come back here and we share. I want quarter. No haggling that. You frown when you accept his proposal, but instead you are gleeful. Huh? Oh, inside, not instead. You could not have hoped for a better result. In truth, a quarter of the price is not only doable, but would leave you with enough to keep paying your crew for several future jobs. It could be a new start. Narbo instructs you to give him an hour, then look for his people at the market and simply introduce yourself. They will know what price they should give you on the metal scraps by then. I expect you to return within 2 months, give or take. Failing that, you'll be hunted. Have no doubt about that. You know that I can mobilize half the bounty hunters in the realms. When you nod, Narbo motions to his man. You and Javik stand up and make ready to leave. Reverie will take you to the back exit. We don't want to give people the idea they can come here to beg for almonds now, do we? You got what you came for, so you leave the Wraith's stash through the back entrance and head back to the Comitatus. And, okay, so now we have 2 stories available. Walk up to the tower, press the time to visit the Heap King, or stroll Scavenger's Lane. There's always something to be had there. Oh. Let's read a few more of these, actually, before we get deeper into this. Let's read some more of these. Let's just see, because some of these might be short. Yep, comms. Comms is a word used in the Imperial language to describe a fellow traveler, usually someone in the same comitatus. Its original meaning is comrade or fellow. Comms are usually sacred according to Imperial religion, and everyone is supposed to look out for their traveling companions to the best of their abilities. Well, that's kind of good, right? Comitatus. Comitatus Imperial word for an armed traveling company of various sizes and composition. The word can be used to describe a merchant caravan, a merchant company, a group of explorers, a band of fugitives, and so forth. Basically, any group that stays together for an extended period of time on the road can be called comitatus. Yet most people only use the term exclusively for a group of people who wander constantly, making a living as traveling merchants or mercenaries, and who have a Vagrus or leader, who runs the venture professionally. Due to the isolation of most settlers and the vast empty wastelands in between them, comitati are vital to the survival of the Empire, as they are the only way to carry news, passengers, and goods over bleak leagues of land. Okay, Devon. Devon is the largest settlement of the otherwise scarcely populated upper central region of the Empire and its provincial capital. Description. Today, Devon is almost completely underground in a series of dark caverns accessible through chasms opening between the spires and the ruins of the old town. Labyrinth-like tunnels and caves give home to many wraiths and others. Due to its position in the changed Empire, Devon now has the Emperor's Road going through it, elevating it to a major city and trading post that managed to outgrow its humble beginnings as a shelter by taxing travelers and providing a shelter stop on a long north-south journey. Dwellings are carved into the rock or are attached onto rock walls, but even so, Devon is stiflingly crowded. Light is scarce, mostly provided by bright kelp. The city is among its greatest importers. History. Before the calamity, Devon used to be a middle-sized city, and the Emperor's Road did not pass through it. Yet the Emperor chose it as the site for one of his many mysterious projects, the spires, a crown of dozens of blade-like spires made of smooth black metal reach hundreds of yards towards the sky, occupying another city's worth of area next to Devon after a whopping 20 years of sorcerous construction. During the calamity, most of Devon proper was completely destroyed, but the spires were unscathed, except that they got buried in rubble about halfway to their tops. Even today, nobody knows what their purpose might have been. Nobody could harm the spires in any way, not even leave scratches on their main surface. Quite a few people survived the catastrophe in nearby cave systems, but they changed during the centuries spent living underground. Became a new race, the Wraiths. The tunnels they dug under the earth throughout the centuries since is what became the new city. Okay. Draka. Draka is the highest value imperial coin in public use. Oh, I don't have any of that. That's funny. Minted from gold is extremely rare, and only the rich come into contact with it, especially since gold has become even rarer than usual in the metal-starved New Empire. Owning a Draka often means you can buy very valuable things like a house, a lot of slaves, or metal equipment. On one of its sides is the imperial crest, laurel surrounded to an eagle, and on the other is the visage of the immortal emperor. The name Draka is derived from the drachma kara, which means valuable quarter, referring to the fact that 4 drachma used to be worth 1 lesta, the greatest value gold coin. Mansio. Mansios are great inns in towns or cities built to house comitati and other groups of travelers. They are often circular with a spacious plaza in the middle and stables all around it to house all kinds of beasts of burden. The outer circle is jammed with service buildings such as taverns, bawdy houses, gambling dens, and rooms for rent. Mansios can be quite varied depending on who runs them, but most of them all have the basic services required by travelers. Commerce often converges in these establishments, but they are far from a marketplace. Usually supplies and slaves can be acquired there, as well as beasts of burden. Also, people who have news and rumors gather in the halls of Mansios, so whoever wants to learn of other lands goes there. Okay, 3 more. 3 more. Stadios. Stadios are great inns alongside rooms built in to house comitati and other groups of travelers. There are often circular spaces in the middle rooms, beasts of burden, only marketplace usually. So it's the same thing, except these are built along roads. So one is in cities. Mansio is in towns or cities, stadios along roads. Okay. Calamity. This might have a long... Yeah, let's see. This is Dead Forest Order. We'll do that one first. The Dead Forest. The Dead Forest is a large woodland area that is counted as part of the Lands of Shadow, situated between the Bronze Desert in the north and the Syrian Plains in the south. Description. Forever dark and foreboding. The trees in the glades still stand but are leafless, blackened, and look dead. The area is in constant gloom, which is neither day nor night. There's no wind. The stifling air does not move. Black char, the remainder of green leaves, long gone, covers the ground everywhere. Nothing lives here, nothing moves, except for spider-like beings in the north part of the woods that manage to spin their webs so thick that all light is blotted out by them. Whoever touches certain dead trees comes to an unknown but presumably horrible end. Legends say that these dead trees still hold a curse that kills swiftly and uncompromisingly, which has made lumbering rather risky if profitable. Excuse me. History. What used to be the Shimmering Woods before the Calamity turned into a bleak and desolate place called the Dead Forest following the Cataclysm. Spanning a vast territory the size of a smaller province, the unified woodlands are a shadow of their former selves. The Empire was in no hurry to reclaim their forbidden place. And even today, apart from a few outposts gathering timber, nobody visits the forest. Alright, now the Calamity. That's our last blue entry for the beginning of the game and the tutorial. The Calamity is the single most important historical event of the Empire, and giving its far-reaching consequences in relation to divine beings, probably for the whole world. Best described as an arcane cataclysm of inconceivable proportions, this event demolished life and society on the continent of Zeren in a matter of days. In the millennium that followed, the Riven realms would not be healed and remain a scarred and disturbed place. Towards the very end of the Third Age, the Empire had fallen into a stagnation and decadence. Desperately holding onto their power while trying to avert the collapse of their society, the rulers of the Empire took to measures that horrified the Elder Gods. In an attempt to quench the rebellions of faraway provinces, legions began to systematically wipe out thousands and thousands of the oppressed. This culminated in a genocide against the Varani people of the north. First, the Omens were sent but were largely disregarded. Eventually, the gods could no longer tolerate such horrors done in their name and descended from their seat atop Mount Zen. It is said that their anger was so great that they went mad, and in their madness, they toppled the empire without regard to any living soul. They unleashed divine and arcane energies that raged for days, leveling cities and cursing regions, and even tearing holes into the fabric of reality so that terrible beings could enter at will. Finally, the gods came to their senses, but when they saw what they had done, they were broken in grief and left this reality, never to return. The emperor managed to protect the capital and the heartlands from the worst of the devastation, but he himself was thrust into a state of comatose stasis and has slumbered so ever since. The apostles, his most trusted servants, were resurrected as deathless lich lords who now took control of what was left and began to rebuild the empire in their own image. The post-calamity era is characterized by arcane anomalies that remain behind the cataclysm and still hold peril for the continent's inhabitants. Mutation and curses are common, as a lot of regions still suffer from what was done to them. Seasons do not exist anymore, and most regions were so deeply affected by the cataclysm that the weather is harsh or outright inhospitable. Cool. Okay, that's a lot of lore. So, I think there I'm going to go ahead and end episode 2. I hope you're enjoying this playthrough. I think it's really cool and in depth, although not very exciting. Me just reading a lot. So, see you next time.